morning.
Good morning. Scott Gates. In the previous budget year, not the current, previous budget year, taxpayers got the first glimpse of the cost for the budget office. The budget office relieved the county judge of the budget responsibilities. At the time, the cost was approximately $160,000. The current budget, the one that we're in now, not the proposed one, the current budget puts it at $200,000. The previous budget did not reduce the budget of the county judge to reflect the decreased responsibilities. Interesting, the budget of the county judge was increased by $50,000 in that budget year, that's the previous one. Commissioner Snell was quoted that if someone's not doing the job anymore, they should not be compensated for it. He was talking about the scofflaw program and funding for the tax office, but I don't see why the same logic shouldn't apply to the county judge. Interesting that the $50,000 went to Friends for Life. I believe the judge can correct me if I'm wrong. Before the court, they came before the court in the previous budget year and requested that their budget, the $50,000 be an allocation as opposed to a reimbursement for receipts. They said that it would make it easier for them to determine what their budget was going to be. And the court voted against that. And the same year, you had to appropriate another $50,000 for that line item. So it went from $50,000 to $100,000. Now the interesting thing is when they came before the court, they said that they would see as many people as needed to be seen and take care of it. For this, if the court would switch over to the allocation, so there was no reduction in services. So the taxpayers are still subjected to the consequences of that mistake. That it's still about the same amount now. And Judge, correct me if I'm wrong. You established a precedent when you had the dialogue with Judge Straw. I think Commissioner Gibson pointed it out. That was simply public comments. This is a public hearing. The proposed budget includes adding a position around $35,000 to the budget office. It seems prudent, if you're going to approve that position, the judge's office should be reduced by a position to fund it. I mean, you reduce his responsibilities by 30%. According, if you do the math on the numbers. The previous budget year listed the sheriff's salary supplement of $12,000 contingent upon receipt of the funds. The budget year and this budget year and the proposed budget removed that language and placed the full burden for the sum on the taxpayers. Requests of the county judge's office and the sheriff's office, so there's no records of him ever doing the reports. They don't have any records of him actually doing the inspections out there, even though he's obligated by the contract to do 2 a month. It's compounded by statements by members of the court that they were unable to get the needed information about the jail. There was even an article in the newspaper that asked the Commissioner's Court, is anybody paying attention to the jail issues? The sheriff is contractually obligated. The $12,000 should be contingent upon those reports being presented to the court because the taxpayers are paying for it. The court voted to eliminate EMS funding, and the statement at that time was because no contract existed with EMS. But you're not even enforcing the contract that you have, but you're sending the bill to the taxpayers for the $12,000. The difference between the estimated budget expenditures for, I got to get everybody in, the commissioners too. The difference between the estimated budget expenditures for precinct 1, 2, and 4 and the proposed budget is $2.5 million. So what you said you're probably going to spend for 12 and what you need in 13, the difference is $2.5 million. It's impossible to tell how much of that money is dedicated and how much of it is derived from tax revenues. If I understand, some can't be used to supplement the general fund. I know there's a proposal on the table to reduce the funding by 5% from the general fund, which leads me to believe that not all the proposed funds are dedicated. Even if we assume that they're not, if it's 100% dedicated. Commissioner Perry explained the surplus was necessary to deal with emergencies as they arise. He made a good case. Currently, each precinct has their own contingency fund. commissioners are not inclined to oppose expenditures by another commissioner of that commissioner's own contingencies. If you move all the funds to a shared contingency fund, the entire court would be inclined to scrutinize each expenditure. Think back to the bridge, the repair of the bridge from outside that was outside our county.
Check your tab, please.
The court voted that Precinct 3 would be adequately compensated by approximately $7,000 less than the other commissioners. I believe a reasonable person or taxpayer can make the case that if you believe that's adequate compensation for Precinct 3, it ought to be adequate compensation for all commissioners.